Some personnel of Perdue Farms Incorporated are accused in a class action lawsuit of knowingly hiring illegal immigrants. The plaintiffs allege that Perdue has conspired to hire large numbers of illegal immigrants, driving down wages of legal workers below market levels. The complaint was filed in federal court in Alabama. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of all hourly paid Perdue workers legally authorized to be employed in the U.S. at 16 poultry plants, including the plant in Bridgewater. Joining us now to discuss the lawsuit is Louis Luna, Vice President of Corporate Communications for Perdue Incorporated. Mr. Luna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bob. Glad to be here.
What is your reaction to the lawsuit?
A couple of things to say initially. Perdue takes hiring very seriously. We have 15 plants in 10 states. We know how to do this. We do it with strict adherence to federal and state hiring laws. And so we know that this lawsuit alleges things that are simply not true.
Okay. What do you go through as far as the hiring practices that you think provides evidence that you're doing what you need to do to make sure you're hiring legal workers?
Perdue uses the E-Verify process that is run by the Department of Homeland Security. And what that does is it affords us a chance to find out instantly the eligibility and the status of any individual who applies for a job at Perdue. And if those individuals do not have the appropriate documentation, then we don't hire them. Now, the interesting thing and the real sad part of making a case against Perdue is that Perdue was literally one of the first companies in the entire nation to adopt this process. Back in the 1990s, there was a pilot program with the immigration, what it used to be called the Immigration and Naturalization Service, that started this online verification process. And we found that it made a lot of sense to adopt, and adopted it company-wide long before virtually any other company did. So we have a lot of experience with this system. We know it works. Now, in addition to that, Bob, we also use auditors to come in and verify that we're using the system correctly to make sure that we have documentation and paperwork so that we know that the process that we're using is the right one.
Now, explain to the viewer how this works. You got somebody who applies, say John Smith, okay, and they want to verify that person is a legal U.S. resident. Does the process go that you put the name in and it actually verifies he's a resident, or it tells if there's no known illegal status of this person?
The system tells us immediately what the person's status is. Are they a U.S. citizen? Are they a legal resident? Do they have the appropriate documentation and paperwork? And we look at their Social Security numbers. We match it against their name. I will tell you that some people do try to use phony or doctored documents or things that they have purchased illegally. If we find that when they're applying for the job, we reject them. And if we find out after they've been hired that they have used any kind of bogus documentation, we kick them off the payroll too.
Now, one of the problems might be the fact that it's known that people can buy identification, basically, of legal U.S. residents, use their documents, use their Social Security number, and appear legal. How does the system prevent that?
Well, that's where the audit and verification process comes in, because we work very closely with both the people that we hire to come in, the independent auditors to come in, as well as with the Department of Homeland Security to address any issues of that type and make sure that we have verification that the documents are real. And
okay.
if we find that that's not the case, then we immediately take action.
All right. Well, Louis Luna, the Vice President of Corporate Communications for Perdue Incorporated, I want to thank you for joining us.
Bob, thank you for asking. Appreciate it.
And now let's send it to